It's great. It's an exciting time. It's really feels good to be into day one. You know, it seems like it's always a long talking season. So, and even this year, having our report date on Thursday, but we really didn't get started till today. So it's really nice to get started and get out there on the field today and be with you all, and you get a chance to see our team and spend some time with our team. I'm very proud of the work that we've done. Our players worked really hard this past winter, spring, and this summer. And, you know, that just gives us an opportunity. I just had a meeting with the team a little while ago, and they put in the work. We laid a good foundation, and that gives us a chance to be successful. It's now about what we do the next month to prepare to put ourselves in a situation to be successful with the upcoming season. I think our team is stronger, we're more mature, and we need to put the fine strokes on things. Last year was last year, I don't even want to talk about it, but this year, you know, we have some experience, we have some depth, we have some strength, and we need to come out of the block strong, starting today with a good practice. And I'm excited. I think it's a really good group. You know, our team seems to have a much better focus about them. I know the leadership, I've talked a lot about leadership and the development of that leadership, and you're starting to see that. It was evident with the practices and what we've done this summer to put ourselves in a position to be successful. So again, it makes it exciting for our coaching staff and for myself to get out there today and see what it's all about, you know. So it's been a good work, it's been a good foundation, but we'll see where we're at as we go along.
Mark, is Lynn Bowden here today?
Lynn is not. So Lynn's the only one that's not here. I expect him this week. Okay, so you know, we expect him to be here shortly. Michael Nesbitt just got cleared, just got here, so he'll be out there today. You'll see him. We do have E.J. Price is here today, transfer from USC. Offensive lineman, offensive tackle, and Matt Panton, the punter, is also here today. We expect the rest of the team to be pretty close to full strength. We have a few guys that we got to be careful with some reps early that are nursing a few injuries from the training that they've done this summer. But in general, we're 100% healthy. Guys that won't take reps today will be Tobias Gilliam, has a high ankle sprain that he's dealing with, and Jamin Davis as well. Outside of that, we'll be at full tilt, and we're waiting on Lynn here in the next couple days.
Is that an NCAA thing that he's just not been cleared to join the team?
No, well, it's clearinghouse. It's academic eligibility.
Mark, a year ago, you said that sort of the reason for your optimism was capacity, the increased capacity you saw in these guys to take more, to understand more, do more. Going into this year, is there anything you see that gives you reason, or will be looking for in camp to believe that you can take even another step forward?
Yeah, I think the training has been done, the increased capacity. I did talk a lot about that last year. I talked a little bit about that this summer, but it's more of the same. It's push them some more. We will look at what we're doing and just make sure the science, the sports science piece of it, we will increase that again. This year it's different with the way we go about it because this is the first year we haven't been able to do two-a-days. It's a little longer camp. We've got to deal with a little bit of adversity here for 3 days because our kids are still in school till Thursday actually. So we got to get up and have the very early morning practices. So it cuts into some of the meeting times. So it's a little different here for a few days, but we wouldn't be here a year ago either. We're starting earlier. But at the end of the day, our players will have more work this camp than they did last. And we'll have the data to back that up, and hopefully let's have it perfect practice. You know, it doesn't matter how many reps you're doing if you're not doing it right. We need to be more efficient, and I think that's what I'm most excited about, the efficiency of our practice, but we definitely will have more.
Mark, with more experience, depth, how would you describe the ownership this team is taking, especially the veterans, compared to when you first got here?
Yeah, it's very, I don't want to use a word that describes that, but very different. So, I don't want to be negative, but they're very different, very different. It's much different, to answer your question, and I really like where we're at right now compared to last year. I just feel like the the ownership, the leadership is much stronger, and it should be. Again, I say it every year I'm here when you guys ask me, you know, my expectations and all those things. We expect to be better. We should be better. We're going into year 5. We ought to be better in all areas. And you've heard me talk about it many times. I mean, we're build a winning culture, build a strong football team, select the right players, and then intentionally develop them when they're here. So we're going into year 5. We should be stronger in all those areas.
Mark, can you talk a little bit about E.J. Price and what getting a transfer like that into a program?
Well, he's a very, very talented football player. And a great kid. I got an opportunity to spend some time with him this summer when he came in. And I really like what I heard from him and what I've seen from him, what he's done. And I'm very excited to have him on this team. And he's got a lot of work to do this year. He knows he can't play, and but he's a very athletic player.
Would you comment on 2 guys for me, please? Josh Allen, expectations for him, and then also Bunchy Stallings.
Yeah, Josh, you know, we expect him to make a very big jump this year. And he did some very good things a year ago, but he's one of those guys that I talk about right from the onset, right from the beginning of practice, to have that attention to detail and to take it to another level from the beginning. He's a guy that when he puts the fine strokes on things, he's going to be a very good football player. And I think what I like the maturity that I'm seeing on him. He and I, again, he came in the other day just to talk about some things, and we just sat down and had a nice conversation, and I like what I see out of him. I could tell he's very focused and interested in taking it to another level. And then Bunchy, the same thing. I think Bunchy's a very talented player. He's versatile. He could do a lot of things, but he's an athletic man for a big guy, and he can do some things. So we need him to play very efficiently. And to be honest with you, we have a lot of confidence in him that he'll play well.
Mark, we noticed that Tamir DeBose didn't go through spring practice.
Yeah.
What is the status on how he's still on the roster?
Tamir's good. So that was a decision that I made to remove him from the team for the spring, because he needed to get focused and he needed to put all of his attention on academics. And I'm proud to say that he did that. So, you know, we're finishing this last summer class right now, but he's put a lot of work in and he's done a lot of good things. So hopefully he'll mature in all areas of his life and come out here and have a good camp and get back out there on the field.
Mark, is there a guy you've had in your career, your time here, that you challenged in that way, sort of a similar way that you saw come through on the other side that really, I guess, you're proud of?
Yeah, I think DeMarco's a guy that early on was a guy that had some real troubles, and you know, he came out and really did well, you know, off the field with some things, really straightened himself out, did good academically, got his degree. I see him now on the sidelines once in a while. He comes back, and it's a guy that just pops out that really went through some hard times, and you know, I was glad that we never did give up on him and give him an opportunity, and he's been successful.
Mark,
You have
I'm sorry, somebody.
Yes, you have Cash Daniel listed on your depth chart before camp even starts. What have you seen out of him during this summer?
We have him listed what now?
You have him listed on the depth chart before the season starts. What have you seen out of Cash Daniel so far?
We have him listed on the depth chart or not listed?
He is on the depth chart.
Yeah, of course.
So what have you seen out of him so
Out of
far?
Cash?
Yes.
The same thing, you know, I've worked with him for some time. He's not a newcomer here, so, you know, so Cash is a guy that is getting better. We talked a lot about that in the spring, that, you know, you see football starting to slow down for him. I think that's the big thing. He's talented. It's very important to him, and the game is slowing down. And he's another guy that should most definitely take it to another level, because he's more comfortable out there playing. And you gotta love Cash because he's passionate and he cares about what he's doing.
Mark,
you concerned about punting the game, punting the ball?
Sure, I am. Well, we need to improve. I don't think there's any doubt about that. You know, and you know, you've seen us punt, and we need to do a better job. We need to be more consistent. It's not just punting. You know, he was asked about punting, but there's a lot of areas in our football team that we need to be more consistent, and punting is one of them.
Mark, we've seen some players react on social media, basically with a chip on their shoulder. Do you see that as a big motivating factor for this team this year? as far as predictions and ratings?
If they want it to be. I don't talk about that much, you know, I'm not gonna say I never do or whatever, it depends on the mode I'm in. But they'll, you know, whatever they need to do to motivate themselves, but it's really about us, it's about where we finish. You know, nobody predicted us last year to finish tied for second in the East either. We'd like to get better than that. You know, we're worried about ourselves and where we finish, and whatever areas or whatever ways people want to use to motivate themselves on a daily basis, I'm okay with.
Mark, what change is it for, considering years past, most of us, including me, would be asking you about all the different freshman deducts you're gonna have to depend on and how many are gonna play. And this year, I guess you'd like to think some of them are gonna play, but it's really a different situation with those guys, isn't it?
It really is, and to be honest, as we go through the depth chart and practice schedule, and as we're going through the details the past week or so, as we're looking at things, it's very different to see some really good football players that you're worried about getting them some practice reps, where in years past, you'd be wanting them to come in and start. So that's a nice problem to have. We've got to make sure we do a good job of managing these players and giving them an opportunity to compete and play and develop them. And we need to monitor that. It's very different, and it's nice to see some depth in certain areas. And it's really nice to see some really good young players that can mature and develop at their own pace.
Mark?
About Jordan Griffin, tell us of what has he brought to the ball club that really excites you, and how much more he can give?
Yeah, Jordan, I have high expectations for this season. I think he's a guy that, you know, I love working with because he just is very conscientious. You know, when we talk development, a lot of times when I'm talking recruiting, when I'm talking to prospects, it's about feeding them the right medicine and them taking the medicine. He's a guy that takes the medicine. You give him the tools, you give him the details and work with him. He takes it all in, he soaks it up, and he really works at it. I've seen players that have done that have developed themselves into first round talent just by the work ethic. And you know, I hope he takes some steps like that. I'm not putting that on him at a young age, but you just love his work ethic. You love how conscientious he is. He goes about his own way. He's kind of a quiet kid, but he's become a leader because people respect him. And so I hope he continues to have a great summer because I have high expectations for him.
Mark, on
Got
the,
in some work at nickel. Is Kendall Randolph back from injury, and who else is
Yeah, so
in the
we're
mix?
exploring options there at nickel. You know, because it's such an important part. You know, you've heard me talk about it a lot. It's a difficult position. So Kendall's coming back from some injury, surgery, and so he was out for the spring, but he'll be back and hopefully be at full strength. We'll see today. And we also can explore with playing Mike Edwards at nickel because he's such a playmaker and he has such good instincts. And that position could get a lot of action, so he likes it. He wants to play some there. I'd like to be able to do that. It depends on how well we can play behind him. I know he can do it. We just have to have a strong safety play at or near the level he can in that nickel situation to move him around. So we'll explore some options here over the next month. But yes, Jordan will be getting some reps there. Kendall, of course, Mike, and we really could even play Mike there and put Kendall at strong or Jordan at strong. And just got to be careful not to overload the young guy as well.
Mark, with your depth this year, quarterback with Drew Barker going down, Gunnar Hope being redshirted, didn't have a lot there. Has the competition really stepped up for that unit, and how important is it for this season progression to have those three competing like that?
It's very important. It's very nice to have all three of those guys and more at full strength and healthy and be able to compete. It's really nice because you know how physical this game is, you know what our league is all about, and to have some options there and not be holding your breath every time, you know, as we got thin last year, it got, you know, you had to be careful, even with some of the designed quarterback runs and things of that nature. With some depth, it hopefully will free us up a tad.
Mark, is there still a QB competition?
Of course, there's competition at every position every day.
Mark, how have you seen Matt Ingram respond to the attention you got at SEC Media Days over this month over the last few
I've seen some good things from that. And again, you know, whatever motivates somebody, I don't think it's right to personally come after Matt, as I mentioned before. We know we need to improve across the board at defensive line, and again, in all areas of our program. You know, starting with me on down, we all want to do a better job every day. Matt's no different, and he has worked hard, and I think, you know, I think losing some weight and getting in great shape is a big piece of that, and he's working at it right now.
What did you say to him, and what did he say to you about hearing that stuff?
I'll leave that between he and I, but we had a conversation, and so, you know, I was very blunt with him, and you know, told him, you know, that what was going on, and I knew I was going to get some questions about that prior to going. You know, so we've had discussions all summer about, you know, what he wants people to talk about him. You know, so.
Marty, speaking of depth, you've recruited very well and developed good offensive linemen since you've been here. Do you expect this unit to become one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in the SEC, or what have you seen out of them so far?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think we still have a lot of work to do. I like the mentality of that group. I think, you know, they've worked really hard. I think, you know, you have to stay healthy too. We were fortunate a year ago, we stayed relatively healthy. We had some good depth, we played a lot of guys, but, you know, even guys like Nick Haynes, you know, Nick is so important to us and such a good player. And, you know, Nick has some obstacles just with his health, keeping his weight up and all that. So, you know, guys like him, that's a big piece of it, to keep Nick healthy and to help him, you know, make sure he could maintain his weight and things like that. So you always, he's good to go, good to play him. You know, he's going to be out there practicing, but it's just, there's a lot of pieces of that. We like the depth, and we need, you know, you need a lot of big bodies.
How do you plan to manage Benny Snell's workload during the season, and how much contact will you allow him in preseason?
Yeah, he'll be out there full go, and we'll be, you know, relatively smart, just because we have to rotate backs and running backs take hits, but Benny does not like to get hit. I mean, and I say that in a complimentary way, not that he's afraid of it. He's just tough. He hates to go down. He hates when he gets tackled. And you know, I love the fact that again, I've said this before, but I'd rather say whoa than giddy up. But like with Benny, I'm like, Benny, relax. You're gonna get tackled. These are good football players out here, and so, you know, he's very competitive. Every yard means something to him. And so he goes hard. He goes hard in practice, every snap, every day. And if he keeps that mentality, he'll continue to be successful like he has. But he has a good, tough, competitive mentality about him.
You think even as a freshman, he helped build an identity on the offense with that?
Without a doubt. That's what we knew that. And when, if you're honest, when y'all asked me questions about him through last year, I mean, we knew he was going to bring that. That's what we recruited him for. That's what he was. He's an accountable person. You know, he's competitive. He's tough. He's accountable. To say that I knew that he would have that kind of success as a freshman would be a lie. I knew he would bring that to the table, though, and he definitely helped us.
How many hits do you want him to take in preseason?
Oh, I'm not going to get into limiting that. You know, talking about reps or anything like that. We can't. He's a sophomore. He's a young, you know, guy that can play. He's going to play, and that sets the mentality for the rest of our team as well.
The success you had last year, how do you guard against a sense of young guys with that feeling that they've arrived? And what are some of the warning signs or something?
I think, you know, accountability within your own team as the teammates. What are, you know, our team's expectations, you know, outside of everybody and even myself. I mean, what do they expect of each other? I think that's the big thing, and what's acceptable and what's not. What's an acceptable rep, what's an acceptable practice, and what's not. I think there's some ownership within that team of what we want to look like, and that'll help us.
Are some of your veterans will log up to the other guys?
Yeah, the veterans will help, and I think you know, that's the big thing. That's what I feel better about. Again, just going to that meeting, the confidence is there. We have to keep our finger on them, keep on pushing them to have that detail. But we can't take steps back. It's about all going forward in progress and not wasting an opportunity.
Mark,
Mark,
when
with
you're,
the new defensive coordinator, is there a marked difference in philosophy for this defense this year?
No, not a marked difference. No, we will look much the same. I think, as we had an opportunity, again, just because as you're here, as you're building a program, the things we've tried to do to maybe cover up, things and patch holes, it was nice to hit the reset button on that. And with myself and with Matt and the defensive staff, kind of retweak that, even from a terminology standpoint, and trying to simplify things to the players and build it in, what we want it to look like now. And so that's been fun to do.
Mark asked Vince Mara who the best athlete was on the UK coaching staff.
He said himself?
He said it wasn't even close, so that you would confirm that?
No. How did I know he was gonna talk about himself?
So would you disagree?
I think Lamar would have to say a few things about that, don't you?
He said
Lamar was pretty good. I mean, we've all seen that in the 30 for 30, right? Lamar likes to talk about himself pretty good too as a good athlete. So I'll let those two battle it out. I know I'm not in the discussion.
Mark, is Jordan Jones another guy that you kind of have to say woe to at times with how he's always, his motor
sure.
seems to be running all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. He is a lot like that, and especially when we have to go without shoulder pads for the first 2 days. And so, yeah, yeah.
Mark-
Definitely.
Did he get the message after sitting in the spring and missing spring because of, I mean, did you?
He gets the message because sometimes he's lining up there at will linebacker and I'm 2 feet behind him yelling in his ear the whole time during the rep, so he'll get it, he'll get the message.
Mark, if Darius West can stay healthy, what can he bring? And if you had a guy who's had to just exemplify so much toughness just to get back on the field.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Darius and just having him out there and it was really good just to get through spring, just to get some of the rust off, get his confidence back. I think he's a guy that it's so important to him that he's a guy I have to talk a lot to as well, because he wants to go from 0 to 60, and it's so important to him, and again, you love that, but he's just got to just go through the practices, get the reps, get the experience, take the coaching, and good things will happen to him. But he's a tough guy. He's worked really hard to get back on the field. He's a guy you all will root for because it's important to him, and he's just got to get the experience. That position comes, you've heard me talk a lot about it, but the safety position, you need some looks, you need some reps, you need some time. In some guys it comes more natural than others, but he'll work extremely hard at it.
Mark, with your offensive line, you do a 7, 8, even 9, 10-man rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you see as an identity going forward, or would you try to be more of a 5-man?
No, if we could play 5, if we could play up to 9, we'll play them, but they have to play at a high level. But it's also very important to development and keeping those guys their interest. I mean, you always want that even at other positions. I mean, so we have to get guys reps. It'll build your program.
What have you thought about Eli Brown? What are you hoping to get out of him?
Yeah, Eli, I see a guy that's matured. He's got a slight injury. We just got to be careful with a little bit here in camp. He'll be out there today. He'll be ready to go. But it did slow him down a touch towards the end of the summer. But I think I'm seeing him. I hope that he's turned the corner just in his maturity level and the way he handles himself off the field, gaining weight, lifting weights, doing all the things necessary to have the discipline in all areas of his life. And I like what I'm seeing, so hopefully he'll continue to progress, because he can definitely play. He'll help us. And as he gets bigger, stronger, and more experienced, he's a good football player.
How have you seen Stephen Johnson kind of grow personally since being thrown into this situation and taking the position?
I think you see a guy, you see him grow. You all know his story. You know how solid of a human being he is, but you see him maybe stepping outside of his shell more and be so willing to share his story and talked to so many different groups. I can't tell you how many people he's affected in different organizations and different groups he's gone and spoken with, and how impressed people are to him. And I think that's one area that he's really changed, and you see him really comfortable in that role and maturing.
Mark, is it fair to physically expect any of those freshmen to help on the defensive line, or are they ready for that?
I don't know. It's hard to say right now. It really is. We'll see how practice goes, and you know, we'll be sitting in here in 2-3 weeks, and I'll have a better update on who can help us and who can't. We have some bodies I like working with.
You alluded to this earlier, I'm sure you couldn't care less about preseason polls, but as you work to change the culture of Kentucky football, do you think there will come a point where that does kind of matter, like how your program is perceived in the preseason? It isn't automatically slated at 5th or 6th or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, you know, if I was sitting in here and y'all were saying, no, you're picked first, I mean, I'd welcome that. Good. But again, I'd say the message would be the same. It matters when, at the end of the year, right? You know, it really does. So, you know, I know we're a better football team. I don't know, you know, I really haven't looked at it. I've heard you guys comment on it, you know, but I know we've improved.
Mark, is there one guy that pops out at you that since the end of the season to now has made the biggest jump that may surprise a lot of people?
I don't know. I think I'll have a better. I could answer that better maybe after a couple practices. You know, so we're not allowed to see them, you know, with a ball in the summer. You know, physically I see guys and you know the work they've put in, but I can't say any one person.
What have you seen from your veteran wide receivers who have battled some inconsistency, but now some of your seniors, this is the last chance for them?
Well, I have high expectations for those guys, and you know, let's just. I think we all are at the point where let's just go do that. Let's go work on it. Let's go play. You know, let's not talk about it and worry about all that. Let's just go play football and get better. And I think they're comfortable that way. And again, they're no different than all of us. Again, I don't want to single any one group out. I mean, they're just like all of us. They need to get more consistent because they've done some good things, but we need more consistency.
Did you have specific conversations with Blake Bone during the spring about what you wanted to see from him from that group?
Oh, yeah.
What specifically would you like to see from Blake Bone?
It drew a line in the sand. So, and I'm proud to say that he has responded very well.
Mark, you talked earlier about false confidence versus real confidence. The entire coaching staff seems to have a sense of real confidence this year. Sure, you're better, but so is everybody else. What single most important factor would you say in your mind should give Big Blue Nation a sense of real confidence this year?
Well, it's general. You hear me talk about it all the time, but it's building. It's development. You know, things are not done overnight. I said that from day one. I'll say it now. It gets boring to hear. That's why, you know, year 4, you know, that's why we go through what we go through. Because people, you know, they think it's a long time, but it's really not, you know. And to the fans and to media and to everybody that listens to my message, it gets old, you know, so I get it. You know, I'm not angry with anybody, it just does. But for us, it's about what? Just doing our job. Just continue to do what we do. And that's build, select, and develop. I mean, we do that daily, all day. And we're trying our best to develop these guys in all areas of their life. We're trying our best to recruit the very best football players we can. And we're trying our best to have everybody have a winning attitude and winning culture and stay the course. And I've said it from day one, and I'll say it now. We need everybody. You know, this isn't just about me or the quarterback or any one position. It's about all of us.
Hey folks, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll have Coach Graney here momentarily.